Because if you don't do things the right way, it's going to come back around at you. You know, you're trying to be slick and trying to do this and trying to do that, trying to cut things and cut corners. It's not going to last. It might happen for you for a month, 2 months, a year. That's nothing that's going to last. You're not creating a legacy by doing that. It's your boy Crispy, the Keep It Crispy podcast. YouTube, what it do, man? It's been a very hectic before Black Friday for us here at Crispy NYC. We got a lot of big things coming, clothing brand wise. So just wanted to hop on here real quick and give you guys a really, really good episode that you know, I think you guys will really, really take a lot out of this episode right here. So before we even get started, man, before anything, if you find value with this video here and you really mess with the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and do all that nice jazz that everybody be talking about. Definitely greatly appreciated. So right now we're probably like 10, 11 podcasts deep into this season already with the Keep It Crispy podcast. We've already interviewed so many dope athletes, some in the NBA already, a lot of them that are, you know, up and coming, that are literally going to be the best at their sport that they could be once they get to those kind of leagues. And we've kind of got a lot of information out of them. We analyzed different conversations that we had, and that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about real quick. What are the 4 top traits that I've seen personally interviewing these inspirational athletes and also being around a lot of different successful entrepreneurs that really move the needle and make a name for themselves out in the business world and out in the world in general, creating things from scratch. And these 4 traits, I believe, are imperative and super important to have in order to be able to succeed at whatever it is that you guys want to do. So I think the first one is courage. Speaking to a lot of these you know, different athletes and these different individuals, I see that each and every single one of them are not afraid to take a risk. They have courage in themselves. They say, you know what, if I don't take this risk and I don't do what I got to do to get to the next level, I'm not going to know how it is to get to the next level. I'm going to be stagnant and I'm going to be comfortable for the rest of my life. And the same thing goes for a lot of entrepreneurs that I've studied and that I'm around and that I'm friends with. They all take risks. I'm telling you that right now. Nothing great is going to come out of your comfort zone. You have to take a risk and you got to go out there. You might not know what's going to happen. You don't know what's on the other side of the fence, but you just got to take that risk. I'm telling you, if you never do, you're just going to die being an average human being and you're not going to leave anything behind. And right now, life is way too short to be out there thinking like that. You can't be thinking like that. You can't. There's people that are, you know, relying on you and pushing for you that really, really want to see you succeed. And you have to be able to have that courage and to know that if I don't take this risk and if I don't try this new business endeavor, or if I don't open up my clothing brand like I always say I wanted to do, or if I don't get on this diet, if I don't go to the gym, you know, if I don't put in this extra workout, you're never going to know what's going to happen if you didn't. So you must have to do that. So when I'm talking to these athletes and these individuals that we had on the podcast, they all have stories about how, you know, they're in the gym 3 times a day, every single day, when everybody else is partying and everybody else wants to go out and have fun. They made a decision in their minds that they want to be the best at what they do. So they're going to put in the work to make it happen, even if it is to, you know, to sacrifice doing certain things that everybody else is doing, all your other friends are doing. They said, you know what, I'm not going to do that because that's time that I could be perfecting my craft. So what I'm trying to say here is courage is a super important trait that a lot of successful people have. And you could ask anybody you know that's a successful entrepreneur that's out there building a business and a name or a brand for themselves. I guarantee you each and every one of them took risks. They weren't born into that kind of lifestyle. They had to just take a risk. Like I took a risk for when I was creating Crispy, even when I was creating this podcast. I took a risk by leaving a job that was paying me $95,000 a year, you know, which is pretty decent money. It's not a lot at all in any terms, but at that time, you know, it was pretty decent money and it was guaranteed. So it was a comfort kind of thing behind it. Like when you guys are working, you have that paycheck coming in no matter what. You know what I mean? As long as you show up and do work and trade time for money, you're going to have that paycheck. It's not like you're out there creating things yourself. and there's no other way about it. So I left that to pursue my dreams, which is creating Crispy NYC and Crispy the brand and pushing it when I had literally nothing. And guess what? It's worked out tenfold. But the whole point is I took the risk. So that's number one. Take a risk and have courage. Second one is relentless. This is a very important one. I feel something in my throat there. I feel that relentless, right? Being relentless is attacking things no matter, like, you're out there just keeping going, getting fired up every single day. You don't stop. When people say no, you just keep going. It doesn't even faze you. You got to be relentless. You got to be like a lion after its prey, where you don't even care what the hell happened. You just, and you go for it. That's what one of the biggest traits that I've seen a lot of guests that we had here on the podcast, they're super relentless, man. Even at the tender age of whatever they are super relentless going after their dreams. Their dreams is to get to the NBA and get to the draft. They're going at it no matter what. I'm telling you, like, they got tunnel vision, and they're not gonna stop no matter what anybody says. Oh, you gotta do that. Nah, I know what I gotta do. I'm doing it. Take advice from successful people that are there in the situations that they want to be in, and they just keep going. And the same thing goes for successful entrepreneurs. Ask anyone. Study the greatest entrepreneurs of the world. You got the Jeff Bezos, you got the Elon Musk of the world, you got the Warren Buffetts of the world. You got all these people, Mark Zuckerberg, all these people that are changing the world by an idea that they had, and you would see that they are relentless. They're not going to take no for an answer. It doesn't matter how many times their ideas get shot down. People say, that's corny, that's not going to work. It doesn't matter, because they know in their hearts that it's going to work, and it ain't going to stop till it happens. It's that simple, guys. It's not easy, but it's simple, because just put it in your head, you are not going to stop until you make it happen. So if you haven't made it happen yet, why are you stopping? Make a decision, and it's going to come true as long as you consistently be relentless about it and put in the work. I'm telling you, that's one of the most important things I've gathered. Speaking to these guests that are on the podcast here, like, they have their own accomplishments, and their accomplishments are nothing short of amazing for what their industry that they're in, for what sport that they're in. You know what I mean? I want to surround myself by top talent like that. Same thing with entrepreneurs. So you can literally make that connection, saying that you need to be relentless in the world while you're building your brand, trying to become the best that you ever want to become. So be relentless is the second trait. The third trait is integrity. I think this is an important one too. Integrity basically is, you're doing things the right way. You're not trying to cut corners. You're not trying to fuck anybody over. You're doing things the right way, which is super important. Because if you don't do things the right way, it's going to come back around at you. You're trying to be slick and trying to do this and trying to do that, trying to cut things and cut corners. It's not going to last. It might happen for you for a month, 2 months, a year. That's nothing that's going to last. You're not creating a legacy by doing that. You got to make sure that you're doing the right thing, and you know that you're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? You could still do and still be great and still be a dog about it, but you're doing things the right way. That's very important. So when I'm speaking to these guests, I find out that they're all super down to earth, humble, and they're all, making it happen the right way. They're not trying anything else, trying to go against the grain or anything like that. Nah, success leaves clues. Why are you going to try to make up your own thing when success leaves clues? Study these successful entrepreneurs. Study these successful athletes. See what their workouts are. See how that person built their business like that. And just follow exactly what they did. I'm telling you, it's there. It's all documented. All you got to do is go on YouTube. Successful traits of entrepreneurs. You're going to see a million videos. It's just that some people don't want to do the work. You got to put in the work. You know what I mean? You got to do the research. When you get home, you got hours that you're just sitting home doing nothing. Go on YouTube, do some research. We're living in the 21st century here. We're in 2023 right now. You know what I mean? There's millions and millions of different ways we can get our information. It's not like back in the 80s and 90s. You know what I mean? Or even the early 2000s when there was hardly any internet. You couldn't just Google something. You got to figure it out on your own. You really did. Unless you knew somebody was showing you the ropes, you had to figure it out on your own. You guys got access to so many different things right now. We both got access to everything. We got access to CEOs if we want. We could DM a celebrity, right? When's the last time you could actually be on somebody's radar? Now you just tag them or do whatever the case is and be relentless about it as whoever you want to speak to, and it's possible, which is crazy. So integrity is definitely the third thing that I feel is one of the traits that connect successful entrepreneurs and successful athletes. The fourth thing is persistence. Persistence, again, is maybe one of the most important things of all, because if you're not persistent about it, you know what I mean? If you're not continuously doing something every single day that you know you have to do to be where you want to be, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? A lot of times, a lot of you guys know what to do. Most of the time, you guys know what to do to actually achieve what you want to do. You're just not doing it. That's the fact right there. Most of you guys know what you want to do. You want to be a better basketball player? Go in the gym more. Practice more. You know what I mean? You want to be successful in your business? And if it's cold calling, potential customers or businesses to lock in, you got to do that every single day. If it's to, get more engagement on your clothing brand or to get more sales for your clothing brand, you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to talk to people and you're going to have to do things that are easy not to do. But you have to do those things. They're easy to do, but at the same time, they're easy not to do. That's why most people don't do it. So persistence, again, when we have our guests here and we're speaking to them and they're telling us their stories and everything, each and every one of them is persistent about what they want. You know what I mean? It's contagious. You can just feel it. And then the same thing goes for successful entrepreneurs that are trying to build businesses and trying to build brands. You know what I mean? I'm speaking from experience here. When I was building Crispy NYC, it was literally from zero to over $1 million selling clothes. And how the heck did I do that? Was I just putting things online and hoping it would sell? Obviously not. It was because I was persistent. I was doing the same thing. Until this day, I'm doing the same thing I was doing back then when I was building the brand. You know what I mean? Reaching out to people, creating relationships. Being persistent is one of the most important things ever. You can't sit back and expect things to happen, is what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's a fact. You be persistent, you're going to see a lot of things change. So far we got 4 traits. Those are the top 4 traits that I feel successful entrepreneurs and influential and successful athletes share together. Those are the 4 traits. And guess what? Those 4 traits make up the brand name Chris P. So if you think about it, C is for courage, which is C for courage. R is relentless, which is the R in crispy. I is integrity. And then P is persistence. That's how we became Chris P. And that's why each letter means something. So when I really thought about it, and after being 10 interviews and 10 podcasts deep into this, I kind of figured, wow, so that really is a formula to success, if you really think about it, which is on the hoodie right here, Chris P. So when I'm speaking to everybody and I'm surrounding myself by, with these successful entrepreneurs, I see that, wow, they all share those 4 traits, which is crazy. So when you think about it, and an easy way to realize, I can't forget what this podcast is about. You know what I mean? I want to make sure I get the most out of this podcast, and I want to make sure I get the most out of this episode. Well, guys, guess what? You're never going to forget the brand Crispy, because when you think of Crispy, now you're going to think courage, relentless, integrity, self-love, and persistence. You know what I mean? And that brings us to the last one, self-love, S. So self-love is a very important. They're all important, but it all kind of starts with self-love. Because you can't be persistent, you can't have integrity, you can't be courageous, you can't be relentless if you don't have self-love. Okay? So there's actually 5. I said there's 4, but there's actually 5 traits that both athletes and successful entrepreneurs share. But self-love is the last one. So with self-love, when you're with these these individuals who we consider, very influential, very wealthy, and, they're in another bracket, you're going to notice that they all love themselves. 100%. They're not out here, lacking confidence. They're not out here not thinking that they could do something. No, they love themselves, and they're not afraid to say it either. And that's a very important thing, because if you don't deep down love yourself, you're not going to be able to love others, number one. Number two, you're definitely not going to be able to spread positive energy if you're not even in love with yourself. That's 100%. You can fake it. A lot of people fake it. But if you really dig deep down and find out, like, why do I love myself? Like, what I'm really here. I'm out here in this world, and I'm doing it. I'm a gift from God. Like, you got to figure out to love yourself. Basically, you got to go out there and say, you know what? If I can't do it, who else is going to do it? It's going to be me. And then just really fall in love with yourself. So a lot of you might not even, when I first heard that, and I'm like, wait, and this was years ago when I first heard that. I'm like, wow, fall in love with myself again. How can I do that? Like, some of you guys are torn and broken apart, and, that's completely normal because of things that we go through in life. But it's very important that, we fall back in love with ourselves. That's going to change everything for you guys. I promise you. You know what I mean? You have to get that confidence that you can do it. You got to get that confidence. But that's before you even do anything, you have to have confidence in yourself. You got to love yourself. So I think that's probably what starts everything before you even acquire any of those traits. You know what I mean? You got to step back and say, okay, so let's see here. I could do this. You know what I mean? I could do anything. Look yourself in the mirror, and then you're really going to see what I'm talking about. You're going to feel what I'm talking about by doing that. So I feel when speaking to everybody on the podcast here and researching top entrepreneurs for the last 10 years that I've been doing and surrounding myself with successful people, they all have that trait as well. Self-love. So that's, honestly why we consider our brand, all about positive energy and making sure we make things happen, and we put positive vibes out into the world and uplift all you guys, because if you hear us, we're always talking about positive things, and that's what the whole brand is about. Every time somebody wears a piece that says Crispy, that's what it's about. It's not that you're just wearing a hoodie or a pair of shorts. You're wearing something with a message, and that's exactly the message that we want to push forward to you guys, not only with our clothing but in the podcast as well. So I wanted to make an episode dedicated to that, because I really feel like that could help a lot of people. And the easy way to remember all these 5 traits is just remember the word Crispy and remember the brand, because each of those letters means one of those traits that I said. So definitely, if you guys took any value out of that, which I'm sure you guys did, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment to the video. Definitely means a lot to us. We're just getting started here, man. We're 10 episodes in to some dope athletes that we've been speaking to about fashion as well, and we are just getting started. Like, we're just touching the surface. We got a lot of amazing guests that are up and coming on this podcast. So definitely stay tuned about that. Right now, when this podcast releases, it's probably gonna be Black Friday already. So if you haven't seen already on our actual brand page, Crispy NYC, we're doing some dope sales. It's going to be amazing. I've never done anything in a big scale like this for any kind of sales or anything like that. So definitely be prepared for that. It's going to be crazy. It's your time to be rocking some Crispy gear now that you know the brand message behind it. And, just hope you guys stay tuned to a lot more dope episodes we got coming. Keep it crispy. Let's get fired up.